And welcome back to Wimbledon center court. Pete Sampras and Greg Rusedski. Approaching 4:30, just after tea time. There are many Canadians here rooting for Rusedski, and of course he is also the newfound hero of tennis-hungry Great Britain. Rusedski, a big serving left-hander, described with a smile as big as Saskatchewan, against Pete Sampras, the two-time champion.
Where's his Union Jack headband? We've got to get a closer look. That doesn't appear to be one, but let's try to get in real tight. This is an important issue here.
Well, one of the tabloids, The Sun, gave him a Union Jack bandana. He was criticized by the other newspapers for wearing it.
Also criticized by Canadian newspapers. They're not too thrilled about what Greg Rusedski is doing here at the moment.
And Bruno Rebiu, you know that name. He was the chair umpire in the Jeff Tarango match with Alexander Moran. So Rebiu, and it's a statement obviously made by the All England Club. They're saying with all the difficulties Saturday, they put Rebiu on center court for the biggest match of this Monday.
Seems to be a boost for his confidence.
Rebiu, a Frenchman who has the reputation of having a quick trigger, just as you might expect from any official in any sport. Some will call that tee faster than others. Pete Sampras, while seated second, is considered the favorite to win here, ranked second, makes his home now in Tampa, grew up in Southern California, only 23, and there's his 95 record, 33-9, approaching $1 million.
Not as invincible as last year, but still very, very good record for Pete Sampras. See his early rounds here. Carson Brash, a difficult player to play, very unusual game to say the least, gave him some problems in the first round. The Englishman Hedman, no problems there, and Jared Palmer had a good start, but once Pete got going, easy win in the third round.
Rusedski, only 21. His serving prowess has been known on the circuit since he came along a couple of years ago. He's currently ranked 60, has a English sweetheart, and his mother born in Yorkshire, and thus has claimed England as his tennis home. Good year. He's got 26 wins. All of last year won only 21.
Well, you see some of these players as we look at his early round results.
All tough. French diet.
Well, they were trading some big serves in the second round. Guy Forget, also a huge serve. As a matter of fact, I think they've hit the two biggest serves of the tournament. And then Olivier Delettre, the little Frenchman, gave him a good tussle in the third round.
So 3 courses of French to whet his appetite. Now, on the 4th of July holiday, he goes after a plate of America's best. Pete Sampras and Greg Rusedski. They've waited all weekend here in England for this one. We're pleased that you're going to join it as well.
You're watching the championship, Wimbledon, on NBC.
Welcome back. Center court, applauding first Pete Sampras, and now Greg Rusedski. Rusedski won the toss, elected to serve. He had his serve timed at 137 miles an hour in San Jose by the ATP, the fastest ever, and 134 miles an hour here.
He's feeling some butterflies now.
What's the key for Rusedski?
Well, first serve percentage would be 1 key. If he doesn't serve the first serve particularly well, to hit a good, heavy, deep second serve. And obviously how well he'll return to Pete Sampras to serve. Dick, let's not forget, this is easily the biggest match of Greg Rusedski's career, where it's far from the biggest match of Pete Sampras' career. He's been here many more times than this young Canadian. pop to it.
A Brit can. British Canadian.
Try to take something off that first serve, slice it out wide. It's a good serve usually for left-handers, but Pete Sampras is able to meet that ball and guide it cross-court for a winner, just taking some of Rusedski's pace. That was real big.
Well, let's check the MPH on that rocket. 123 miles an hour.
Probably had 5 to 7 miles if he had hit that up the middle, so that was very well struck.
And the double full. So first ace, first double full. Rusedski, 6'3" and 190 pounds. Generates plenty of power. Seems to be hurrying.
Just what Greg Rusedski didn't want to happen, is get Pete Sampras into this match early in the match. Gets down nicely for that backhand, good shoulder turn. Watches that ball till it hits his racket, break point for Pete. Now a chance at a second serve.
Well, in his opening, actually his second match, it was here in center court, Guy Forget. He lost the first 5 games and then rallied to win. That's an underrated aspect of Sampras's game, his ability to cover court.
Exactly right. He moved very quickly to that ball, and this is one of his best shots, that running forehand. Just missed that one.
And second ace for Rusedski. He holds. We're underway.
NBC's coverage of Wimbledon continues Tuesday and Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Thursday and Friday at 1 p.m. Plus nightly updates at 11:35 p.m. All concluding with a double serving of breakfast at Wimbledon Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. The Championships, Wimbledon. Coverage continues all this week on NBC.
This fortnight, a dream trip for Greg Rusedski.
Oh, it's like a dream matchup come true for me, playing Pete Sampras on center court at Wimbledon. And I mean, it'd just be a great experience for me, because I've dreamed of playing John McEnroe on the center court of Wimbledon one day. And with the 13,000 people in the stadium hopefully cheering for me, anything can happen.
So that big smile, his nickname on tour is the Joker. As Pete Sampras wastes no time logging his first ace.
You're going to see a lot of that in this match by both players. Very surprised if each of them doesn't get at least 20 aces.
As you mentioned, Rusedski had 36 aces against Olivier Delattre in his last match. Pete's been right around that 20 mark in the championship each of his appearances.
Conditions are heavier now. Temperatures dropped. Cloud overhead. This is going to slow the conditions down. Look at the Andre Agassi forehand. Flicking that forehand cross court. Heavy topspin. Coming up and over that ball. Boy, good facial expression there.
You got to get that tongue tucked in the left corner to really get that topspin.
Well, we've seen Michael Jordan do that a couple times. Tongue wagging.
And first double fall for Sampras, 30-all. Is it your dream match on center court with Greg Rusedski?
Yeah, that's what I said yesterday. Always dreamed of playing Greg Rusedski. Well, he's going to have his hands full even with Pete Sampras here. He may have preferred to play me. There's just no real shot for a player if a guy hits a serve that well. I don't care who you are. Maybe, possibly Andre Agassi could have returned that, but I'd say that's about the only guy.
107 miles an hour, that serve wide by Sampras.
It's so well placed.
It's going to be serve and volley throughout here. First to the net. Good return.
He's not going to have time very often to come over the ball like he did on this backhand return, but couldn't have placed it any better. Forced Sampras to try to half volley that, floated a little bit long.
And Pete going wide on Rusedski in that deuce court.
And that's extremely tough for a left-hander to handle. Top of the fact that it's superbly placed. Good variety by Rusedski. Pete put a little more on this second serve this time, so what does Rusedski do? He says, okay, I'll just slice it down the line.
Couple of confidence-building returns by Rusedski.
Well, he was able to move forward, and that's certainly a key to returning Pete Sampras or anyone else's serve. You don't want to be caught on the back foot consistently. Wishes that ball was in. And there's his lack of concentration, lack of experience there. He was too busy sort of joking with the linesman there. Say, I wish you had called that in. I hit a good return. Forgot to hit the second serve.
Again, Sampras. 1-0.
Greg Rusedski, as he gets set to serve, has only lost 3 service games out of 57 in the tournament.
Well, that's a good first serve percentage for someone that serves that hard, and especially good percentage of first serve points won, 90%. And that's one of the reasons why he can mix up that serve, the power, the pace, and the placement. And he's left-handed.
What is it about this rash of left-handers? Dick Norman, the big 6'8" Belgian, and you got Korda and Ivan Isavic.
Well, they say lefties have an edge, and as long as the right-handers keep believing that, you go with it. That's a nice touch by the big man. You do have the obvious advantage that on the break points they're serving to their more natural side, which would be the ad court. You see a nice drop volley there by Greg Rusedski.
Number 3.
40.
He said no matter what happens, win or lose, he's going to smile throughout. He's going to be relaxed. He said all the pressure's on Sampras, not on me. Rusedski at love. Pete Sampras, of course, would love to join the elite 3 in a row at Wimbledon, but even more important to him is to win for his coach, Tim Gullickson.
The clay court season at the French Open, I mean, I was, everyone was just a little bit down, and I can do my part in his recovery, going out and winning, because when I'm winning, everyone's happier, his spirits are better. I mean, he's going through the toughest fight of his life, and with this treatment, and I just have to do my part and win, and everyone's just a little bit happier.
If you were with us yesterday, we had a touching interview with Tim Gullickson in Wheaton, Illinois. And the good news that we should report is that the brain tumor has been reduced in size significantly, so some of the therapy is having impact, and terrific news in his fight.
Could we also mention, while we have a chance, another great former tennis champion, Pancho Gonzalez, who's been watching us on NBC and is struggling with his own health, and we wish him the best.
Pancho out in Las Vegas. Oh, talk about a great server.
Rusedski showing some nice touch off that backhand side.
15-0.
It's not an easy shot. Angled that cross court. You talk about a tough competitor, Pancho Gonzalez. Boy, oh boy. They said Connors and I were tough. No, that jump won't get that passing shot.
Well, Pancho and Jack Kramer were the Connors and McEnroe of their era.
Well, I don't know if Jack Kramer was quite that volatile, but we sure learned a lot from Pancho Gonzalez just being around him. His charisma, energy, desire, I don't even need to go on.
Point from 2-all.
40-50.
And it appears Sampras is going to work that backhander Rusedski consistently until he proves that he can beat Pete with it. And again.
You're right, Dick. He's just going to keep playing his game. I think Rusedski is probably more consistent off the backhand side. Makes more errors off the forehand. But Pete says, hey, if I play my game, I'm going to beat you no matter where I serve.
Having his best ever season is Greg Rusedski, and title at Seoul is second. Pete with 33 pro titles.
Surprisingly mediocre record on grass, 0-2 coming into this event. There's 3 wins here at Wimbledon. I wouldn't expect him to lose first round at the 2 warm-up events. But he does have a good record, we pointed out, 26-12 for a guy ranked 60. We've seen guys ranked 50 that barely had a 500 record, so just shows you some guys pick their tournaments and points better than others. Grass is certainly going to be slicker than it had been in the first week. It rained quite a bit here yesterday. You see Rusedski trying to get the dirt if any has come onto his sneaker. Good move always on grass to go behind your opponent. And a good move not to hit the net after you hit that volley.
15-all.
See that? Very little backswing, not much of a follow through, pretty much straight up, inside out backhand winner.
Number 4.
Barely had a chance to finish my sentence. Ace number 4. They're not wasting time out here. They obviously didn't watch me and Connors play a whole lot, because we took a lot more time than these two guys did. But I should point out the rules have changed from the time that I was playing against Jimmy. We used to have 30 seconds between points, now only 20 here at the majors. 25 at the rest of the events, so they're trying to speed up play.
Just missed it, Sampras. 3-2 on serve, opening set. Welcome back. Chair umpire Bruno Rebu. Become much more of a part of this Wimbledon championship than I'm sure he had intended. And he confirmed the fact that Jeff Tarango's wife did indeed, after the match, slap him a couple of times. That part of his official report to the All England Club. Stood by her man. Sampras 2-3.
Rusedski wants the ball back. He's going to practice this stroke again. I'm not sure what that does in any way, shape, or form when a player does that. Because he didn't even hit the next one in. See him with his backhand pass. Rusedski has a tendency to stick that elbow out in front of him, which is not a good move, except if you have time. It won't affect him then. He had time to set this one up, take a good swing at it, but if he gets rushed there, that's going to prove to be a liability for him.
Another serve to Rusedski's backhand, effective, 30-15.
You're right, Dick. He sure seems to be pounding away at that Rusedski backhand. Certainly an entertaining point to watch.
40-15.
Pete tried to put that one away, wasn't able to do so. Rusedski tried to hit an overhead of Pete's overhead and acrobatics afterwards.
Must be the fish and chips over here. Rusedski, he's revitalized.
I doubt it's the fish and chips, though. Don't mislead anyone. That's the last thing you need before a match.
40-15.
Well, the chip charge is a pretty difficult move against Pete Sampras with that first and second serve, and he's probably fortunate Pete didn't tag him in the back with that.
Love 15.
That ball came back a lot quicker than Rusedski expected. He wasn't prepared for that volley. Love 15. Boy, that serve came in quick.
5 aces for Rusedski, and that one measured at 131. 134 is the top timed serve in this championship by Rusedski.
I don't think that ball was far away from Pete. He just didn't have time to react. He leaned a little bit to the back end. The ball was by him. Two good returns so far in this game for Pete Sampras. See, he didn't make Pete move there. Pete didn't have to move at all. Just got to keep him moving around that court when he's returning serve. Even 1 or 2 steps.
Now second serve for Sampras to pick on.
He got lucky on that volley. But the reason he was lucky is getting a good second serve. He got in nicely to net. You see him as a foot or two already inside the service line. Sampras hit a good return there. Able to dribble that volley over.
First set is very important for Sampras. He needs to get the early jump. You have the sense that Rusedski should take this opening set. Then this center court is really going to be boosting him.
It's going in. No.
What a shot by Pete Sampras. Oh, my.
It's just great reaction by Pete here. A total miss it off the return. Rusedski should have just placed that ball instead of trying to bounce it over Pete's head, and that wasn't too smart a shot either, but at that point he was just frustrated. Dick, as big a first set this is for Pete Sampras, I feel it's even bigger for Rusedski.
The ball girl can't find the ball. There it is. She's all blushing now. And that delay may have broken the concentration a bit of Rusedski. And here's the first break point of the opening set. Check that, the second one in the first game for Sampras. The defending champion enjoys the first lead of the match.
Tonight, it's a full hour of The Fresh Prince. And for the first time ever, Michael Jackson's new video, Childhood, only on NBC tonight.
The Championships, Wimbledon, brought to you by American Honda, maker of fine quality automobiles, motorcycles, and power equipment. By Goodyear, #1 in tires. By Cafe Classics from Lean Cuisine, the specialty of the house, now at your house. And by Old Spice Soothing Gel. It takes the heat out of shaving, and now you've got proof.
Welcome back to Wimbledon. Pete Sampras shooting for 3 in a row at Wimbledon. Such a rare accomplishment on the men's side. New balls, and with the break of Rusedski, the lead 4-3.
Well, Rusedski moves well for 6-3, but not well enough to get that ball and do anything with it. Certainly not in the level of the quickest movers on the tennis court, though. Make no mistake about that. Keep trying to cut that. Way too fine there.
15 all.
Well, there are the men who have won 3 consecutive years, and you see the first 4 before World War I. So you figure the last 80 years, only Fred Perry and Bjorn Borg. So it is indeed select company. Remember, early in Wimbledon, the champion came back, and he didn't have to play until somebody won his way to the finals, and then that was his challenger. Had to win 1 match to...
That's not a bad deal, is it? 1 match to defend your title. Another big serve by Pete Sampras.
Well, when he puts his first serve in, he has won 11 of 12 points. Point now from 5-3. Love, I should say, Rusedski to win today. Very polite in their applauding of both players. They high respect for the champion.
I bet you a couple of the English players, or at least one that he may take off the Davis Cup team, is not too happy.
Well, they're not all happy that he has joined these forces. Chris Wilkinson is one who has displayed discontent.
Well, I certainly think he has a point. I don't think he has any business playing Davis Cup for England. Certainly doesn't mean he can't live here if he chooses. I mean, but that's a different set of circumstances, a different story.
David Lloyd is the captain of the British Davis Cup team. Rusedski never played Davis Cup for Canada.
That surprises me. I would have thought he would have played Davis Cup for them by now. Wasn't he their top player before he came here a couple months ago? Certainly can't think of any other Canadian that's ranked ahead of him.
Ace number 6.
40-50.
Those low returns historically so tough to handle for those big guys. That point, no exception.
NBC's coverage of Wimbledon continues Tuesday and Wednesday at 10 a.m. and Thursday and Friday at 1 p.m. Plus nightly updates at 11:35 p.m. All concluding with a double serving of breakfast at Wimbledon Saturday and Sunday at 9 a.m. The Championships, Wimbledon. Coverage continues all this week on NBC.
Greg Rusedski's British girlfriend, she's an actress, 19-year-old Lucy Connor. She's appearing in Chekhov's Three Sisters here in London, John McEnroe's favorite Chekhov play.
Well, he's a great playwright, and I've seen Chekhov plays.
I thought that middle sister, Natasha, was rather titillating, didn't you? Pete Sampras, third ace, 3 points away, opening set here, round of 16 at Wimbledon.
Pete Sampras not going to make any mistakes in this game, serving out the first set.
It's been really an impressive set for Sampras, hasn't it? That was a 120-mile-an-hour serve.
Look at that serve.
On the line, 3 straight aces.
Now tell me, how are you going to break a serve like that if Pete Sampras serves up to his capability? I don't think it's possible.
Goes for the grand slam here.
Just missed 4 in a row. See if he goes for a second serve ace. No, he's too smart for that.
Opening set to the reigning champion, 6-4. Well played. 31 minutes for the first set of play. Rolex and Wimbledon tradition. 17 years on center court. Rare privilege to have your commercial name on this center court.
Love 15.
Well, we open the second set. Rusedski with his 4th double fault.
Whoa! Hope he's okay, Pete, there.
Wow. When sliding through that, look at the skid marks that he left into the big heavy roller.
Well, there's an effort right there.
Fortunately, most of his momentum had been stopped with his slide before he was braced by the photographers.
Fortunately, he fell on that tarp, but he's got to be feeling that.
5 please. Thank you.
He almost ran down that ball, and that would have been a heck of a get there.
Well, that was a McEnroe eyedropper.
30-15.
See the coach, Scott Brook.
Well, this is
wait,
Paul
Paul
Annacone
Annacone.
and Todd Schneider, his trainer, who used to be with the ATP.
Pete Sampras' coach and trainer. Paul Annacone working in Tim Gullickson's stead. And Rusedski holds to open the second set. Our match summary. Both men serving around that 60% mark. Winners and aces close. Sampras with the one break. Very competitive. Rusedski has played as well as he can against the number 2 player in the world. Dropped that one on the line.
They just met that ball, took Pete Sampras' pace, and just guided that ball down the line. Well blocked there. Once again, you don't need to take the racket far back or follow through very much.
We'll
see a good stretch here by Pete Sampras. Nice and close to the net. Guard down the line, so if you get a cross-court ball like that, you just have to stick your racket out to win the point. And this time he didn't cover down the line. Late great Arthur Ashe always told me to cover first down the line. Pete a little bit late getting over there and didn't move over far enough. Rusedski took advantage.
It's his first 15-30 opportunity in the match.
Well, he guessed right, but couldn't even make a lob that went in the court.
Talked about the nickname Joker because of that big smile a la Jack Nicholson in Batman, earning him the moniker. Oh, a rare volley error from Sampras, and it's a break point.
We didn't expect to see that. Sampras showing a little nerves himself. First chance here for Rusedski.
Ball looked long from here.
Did look long, Dick, and so does Greg Rusedski think that was long. Well, that's a nice way of arguing. It's pretty close.
Another breaker.
Well, he's been mixing up his backhand pass nicely. This time, gets that racket back and just whips it down the line. Appeared he was going to try to pull that cross court and fool Pete.
Well, he's so animated and excited about his opportunity here, and this is all sincere stuff that you have to love him. I mean, he makes it fun.
I wonder why he ran around that backhand there, though. He just hit a backhand passing shot winner, previous point. Oh, that's a beautiful stroke. We've seen Pete Sampras hit this shot a bunch of times, that running forehand cross court. And the last couple of years, he developed that dipper cross court, which we saw there with Rusedski.
Third time the charm for Rusedski.
Just overpowered by that serve.
So 3 chances knocked away by Sampras.
Dick, he's got better touch than I realized, this Greg Rusedski. Nice feel around the court. Not just all power.
Oh, he slices him wide for ace number 6.
We saw David Wheaton use that serve against Andre Agassi. Classic service toss and serve by Pete Sampras.
A struggle through 3 break points. Sampras saves 1-all.
1 game over, second set.
Seven aces. Two aces and a service winner.
He's clearly picked it up the last few games. He didn't play badly in the first set either.
Well, that's nearly the grand slam. 3 aces gives him 9 for the match.
You're watching the championship, Wimbledon, on NBC.
Pete Sampras on serve in the second, up a set. Delana Mulcahy in the red, his lady friend. Reminder tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Pacific time, 5 more hours. We hope you'll celebrate part of your 4th of July with NBC Sports, the women's quarterfinals tomorrow. And one of the matches we'll zero in on, of course, will be Steffi Graf, the favorite to win her 6th Wimbledon title against American Mary Jo Fernandez. Both men getting a rhythm on their serves.
You got to expect maybe at least one tiebreaker in this match, but Pete Sampras may have something to say about that. Rusedski trying to hit that backhand a little firmer. Second time around, that last backhand floated on him. Easy put away for Pete. A little careless there on that forehand volley. Sort of ran through it. Didn't really get down for it, but he was up 40 love, so probably not going to matter. Doesn't want to make that one a habit, however, running through the forehand volley. Once again, that big first serve setting up this easy put away.
So Rusedski 2-all. Sampras 6-4 in the opening set.
Last 15.
He tried to overhit that passing shot. Rusedski was about an inch or two from the net. Topspin lob would have proved effective there. But he had committed a little bit too early for that pass.
First set.
And that is a very tough serve to handle. That serve out wide of Pete's backhand. Not only got a lot of slice, but a lot of pace. Well, the smile's still there, but probably lost a little bit of humor on this one. Cut that one too close, but he was up 40-15.
And the ace, 3-2 in the second.
Hold on a second. I think Bruno called this one out.
You looked right at Pete before he called it. You didn't call it.
Yeah, apparently.
He called it immediately.
Bruno Review.
He clearly didn't call that one immediately, but he did overroll that serve out. Greg trying to laugh it off, but he won't be laughing it off if he loses this point. He's not too happy now.
So you can see why Review might be an attribute for some players. He does insert himself into the action at interesting times.
That's a nice way of putting it, Dick. And you're right, he definitely has that reputation. Not a good time to break a string here, Rusedski, between the first and second serve. 2-all deuce, down 1 set. Better hope this racket's tension is just about the same as the last one.
Especially when he thought he'd already won this game.
First set.
Just on the line, another overroll by Review.
Well, I don't think there's any question there that that ball was in. That forehand. Watch Pete Sampras step to the side just a touch. Pull that forehand up the line. Let's see. I don't know. On second thought, that ball looked out.
Lineswoman called it out, overruled by the chair umpire. 2 calls against Rusedski in this game. And now Sampras with a break point. It's like a 5-out inning, a couple of errors, and you expect the opposition to finally score. Boy, that's really a test of your composure.
Absolutely amazing. You look at Sampras to call the left. You look at Sampras to call the left. You looked at him twice, and then you called left. And then you overroll on 2 balls. That's a very good.
Yeah, Rusedski had the game won, he thought, a couple of times, and eventually broken. Let's stay here between games. Boy, that I could imagine even how I'd feel in that situation, much less someone with so much at stake.
Now you're starting to understand me a little more, aren't you?
Yes, I am. Maybe I'm getting too close to you, John Patrick.
I really didn't feel like they should put Bruno Review on the court for a while until this was investigated. Here's a player who's in the 3rd round. I think it should be checked into. I can understand why they want to give him a boost of confidence, but still, to put him on this match. Let's hear Greg.
Time.
Doesn't seem like anything else will be. What? I think he has a clear beef here. I think Bruno should do best to stay out of this match and call the score.
Chris Everett has also joined us in our commentary box.
It's almost like they want to save face by putting him up in the chair, John. You know,
That's right.
They don't want to be embarrassed any further.
I think they should have fined him for audible obscenity call that he made a couple days ago, but that clearly won't happen.
You're saying that Rebu used some profanity?
No. I'm saying that they, way back in the NBA playoffs, they fined the official there or pulled him off the playoffs. They did the same thing in the NHL on a mistaken goal, and I think the same thing should be done to the umpires in tennis. That was a clear mistake, in my opinion, that it should never have taken place unless something was going on between Tarango and Rebu. But that's just my opinion.
Yeah, there's a precedent in other sports, is your point, that when you get entangled in making controversial calls, that maybe it's best that you wait your turn, let someone else have some of the featured positions until it's all sorted out.
They suspend players and athletes for months at a time. I can speak from experience. I don't see why they shouldn't do the same to the officials. He's clearly turned the tide of this match.
Seventh ace.
Not that Pete Sampras wasn't probably going to win anyway, but could have been a lot closer. Although this match is far from over. Things are heading in the wrong direction rather quickly for Greg Rusedski. Besides, didn't he say he was going to smile all the way through the match, Dick? Looks like that smile's gone at the moment.
Well,
it's easy to smile when things are going well, isn't it?
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but I think he said that because he wanted to take the pressure off himself. But I think he senses that he's in this match and that, you know, anything's possible.
4-2 Sampras. New balls. Well, he flashes a big smile up at his lady friend, his coach, above.
I thought it was me.
Yeah, you did.
Wasn't that type of look, was it? Telling the crowd he's just warming up. Remember, he wanted to play me in the Wimbledon center court, so now he really wishes he'd playing me.
New balls. Ten aces.
15 left.
Sampras the other day if he felt that the balls, if he felt the difference in the balls because they are heavier and they're taking away a little bit of the power, and he said, yeah. He says, my returns are better, but I can sense that my serves are not as potent. So they must be serving great serves to have as many aces as they've had.
Well, I think the fact it was so hot was a big factor.
Right.
The ball definitely goes through the air in that weather more than this type of weather. Now you're going to start hearing more complaints, I think, from the big servers. Taking a little bit of pressure out of the ball as well. What I want to know is it actually is heavier, or are they just taking a little bit of pressure, or both?
Have you been able to hit with these balls while you've been here?
I keep asking any of the players if they need a warm-up, and no one said yes yet, so unfortunately not.
Rusedski holds, but Sampras is up to set up a break. Welcome back. It's 5:30 London time. Very pleasant day for the players. Some 30, 35 degrees cooler than it was midweek, the first week of this fortnight.
We didn't get to see the scissor kick overhead. That's my favorite, showing that white men can jump.
Very dominant with his first serve, though. He's won 27 of the last 31 points off the first serve.
Yeah, I'd say that would get the job done.
Very dominant. Can't do much better than that.
And another.
Notice Pete, the only male player that only serves with one ball. Guess he doesn't like that ball in his pocket.
30-15.
Only his second double.
See that all the time in the women's game. Almost all women players that I know of, Chrissy, maybe you can tell me otherwise, that serve that way. Maybe Sanchez Becerra, doesn't she have that little thing in her back pocket?
Yeah, clarify that rumor that you're going to start using that in the
in the 35 tour, right? No, I'm going to clarify the rumor. We are going to get 3 serves, and we're going to change the game.
Nicely done for 30 all.
Well, he was way off the court on this backhand passing shot, but he got that racket back nice and early. Watch him watch the ball and not look at his opponent, which you must do on any passing shot, and that was a beautiful pass. Trying to fight his way back into the set. He's got a chance here to second serve at 30 all, so. That volley really skidded on him.
It was right on the line, and it's very rough, as you can imagine.
Sometimes he has a tendency to take a big swing, like you try to do here, and that you cannot afford to do when that ball's skidding on you. Just couldn't put anything on that forehand pass.
Sampras.
Sampras leads by 5 games.
Well, it seems like he's got his head back into it again, at least, which is good. Not worrying about that calls, those couple calls a few games ago. Nonetheless, he's still down 6-4, 5-3.
Late action is this at center court. Most of the round of 16 today. You see Agassi is through 3-3-3 against Alexander Morans. Jaco Elting in 4 dismisses the 7th seed Wayne Ferreira from South Africa. Yevgeny Kafelnikov continues his role. Aaron Krickstein out in straights. And there's a big story. Never has a Japanese male reached the quarterfinals at Wimbledon. Shuzo Matsuoka eliminates American Michael Joyce, and it was a nice run for Michael Joyce.
I played Matsuoka back in '88, and he had a lot of talent back then. See the 5th double fall coming from Rusedski. A lot of promise, and he's had a lot of problems with injuries. Great result for him here. Look at that return.
And that gives Sampras 3 set points, and indeed, Shuzo Matsuoka is the man that the winner of this match will meet in the quarters.
He's a big guy, too, about 6'3", 6'4", somewhat unusual for a Japanese fellow. He can serve.
At love, Sampras breaks Greg Rusedski and owns a 2-set lead. So Sampras converts a couple of break games on Rusedski, but you have to go back to that 5th game where Rusedski at 40-15 thought he had won the game, and the overrule by review, and then even another time of overrule by the chair umpire against Rusedski, and he finally loses that game, and then the set game to fall 2 sets down.
You know, in any sport, you know you have a good official when you don't see him. When you see a guy too often, like usually happens with Bruno, that can lead to problems.
That's 8 aces for Sampras as we open the 3rd set.
So suddenly Jeff Tarango not appearing to be quite as nuts as he did a few hours ago.
John, what do you think about Rusedski being left-handed? I mean, you were left-handed. Don't you think you had an advantage on grass, though?
Well, I honestly thought I did because the righties felt that we did, the left-handers. I don't know. I guess, you know, obviously in the break points you can have that natural serve out wide, but and the additional fact that only 10% of the players are lefty, but,
right. Yeah, but
I guess that's a factor. But it seems to me after a couple games, if you're a pro, you should be able to pick up on their game. They always talk about the edge at left. What do you think?
Well, you know, playing Martina all those years and being so unsuccessful with her here at Wimbledon, I mean, she served me out wide to that backhand side, and I think because I had a two-handed backhand, my reach was limited. So I think with the two-handed players, I think they're really at a disadvantage.
Did you ever think, for example, or try to step in a little bit closer to force that serve away from her and to force her to go up the middle?
Yes, I did try that. And then
I don't want to rehash bad memories here.
Her second best serve.
Why didn't you move forward?
Her second best serve was down the tee, hard and flat.
Well,
so I just didn't have a chance on that.
Well, you're talking about one of the best, if not the best, servers ever in women's games. So,
player.
You know, I'm not sure if you're picking the right example there to judge by.
Well, I think the example that you said, you play one lefty out of about 20, you know, versus 20 right-handed players, and you just get into a groove of different spins and slices. And it takes a few games.
A few games, but I mean, it's a best of 5-set match.
Yeah, but it could be, well, not for women. It could be 3-love before you know it.
Well, that's true.
40-30.
I forgot women don't play best of 5 and get equal prize money. Thanks for bringing that up.
You should watch more women.
You should come around here more often.
Only at Wimbledon. US Open we get equal prize money.
It's long. Sampras holds. We're underway in the third. Welcome back. Greg Rusedski has taken a restroom break. Jeff Tarango has conducted a press interview or statement. Let's go for that.
Thanks for coming. I'd like to say that my wife and I had to stand alone and defend ourselves against overwhelming pressures. Her resilience through all of this has been incredible. We both feel that what we have done was what we were forced to do in desperate moments. We are taking a stance on this issue and as a result paying a huge price. I have been assured that a proper investigation will follow where all the evidence of the case will be brought to the Grand Slam Committee's attention. So far, I feel the investigation is going on and hopefully will continue to be conducted as fairly as it has been so far. I would like to thank Mr. Alan Mills and Mr. Bill Babcock for listening to me and understanding my position in this extreme and very unusual situation. I feel there is a great need for someone to stand up for the players, and I would like to thank Mats Wilander, Wayne Ferreira, John McEnroe, Pete Sampras, Scott Melville, the entire Joyce family, and all other players who supported me. I'd also like to add that I'm very sorry that Marc Rose's name came out in this, and I am sure he has no involvement, and I would also like to add that I think he's a very, truly great player. I really wish the players in the sport of tennis all the best and hope we can make great strides to ever improve our great sport. Thank you.
That's a statement just minutes ago here at the All England Club by Jeff Tarango. Meanwhile, a very quick game. Rusedski holding at love. It's 1-all in the third.
15-love.
Marc Rose was the Swiss player that was mentioned by Tarango as one of those that he had heard that Rebu had favored, helped to win matches, and he has apologized to Rose.
These statements keep coming. You need time to digest each one. It's like theater here. What confuses me, however, is whether or not they decided whether he'll be suspended or not. I don't understand. I thought they've given a fine and that's the end of it. I guess he's talking about the investigation into Roubaud. We see Pete Sampras serve as ninth ace. Still a little murky to me what exactly is going on.
He mentioned you as supporting him, and yet you were highly critical of his actions on Saturday.
Well, I was critical of walking off the court. No player supports that. Including, I might add, Jeff Tarango. I mean, I'm sure he knows already what chance he blew, so that's obvious.
2-1, Sampras holds, up 2 sets. Any reaction to the comments, Chris Evert?
Well, you know, I think that when I listened to the press conference, he kept repeating himself, saying, you know, I'm just standing up for what I believe in. And when I hear that, you know, 8 or 10 times from somebody, it leads me to believe that he sort of has a shadow of doubt as to whether he really believes that he did the right thing. And, you know, I think he's going to look at it afterwards. Like I said before, he'll go home and he'll really think about it, because he seems to be a very impulsive, emotional person. So sometimes it takes some time to really sit back and think of, you know, of what he did. And I think he's going to be remorseful, and I think he's going to be sorry that he walked off. At the time, it was impulsive. It was a back court. Not a lot of people were watching. I mean, you kind of wonder if this would have happened on center court at Wimbledon.
I don't think there's any question that he's sorry he walked off the court. I mean, how could he not be sorry? I mean, he didn't have a chance to advance to the tournament to play Andre Agassi.
Is there anything positive for Jeff Tarango that will come out of this?
I hope so. I hope so, for the players' sake. I'm behind the players, but it's hard to imagine. But we'll have to wait and see what this investigation brings up. I can't see the positive of walking off the court. He could have done all this after the match. Why did he have to go through all this? Why didn't he just play on and then complain about everything afterwards, if in fact that was the case? If you're a better player, and Christy, I think you'll agree with me on this, 80 to 90% of the time you're going to win anyway, despite what happens. If officials are against you, give you bad calls, you got to keep that in your mind.
Well, I think if there's anything to be learned, I think he'll realize that he has to live by the rules, too. I mean,
I never learned that. So
yes,
unfortunately, I did.
You knew when to cross the line, and you knew when to hold back.
Well, that's another great play by Sampras, reacting to the overhead and just blocking it back into the court.
Rusedski better be careful here. He's already down 2 sets, and I don't think he's going to get down a break and think he's got any hope whatsoever of coming back. Got to try to stay ahead in this 3rd set.
30-15.
Hope that Sampras gets a little bit tight and maybe sneak out 1 break. Just a well-played point all around. A good second serve, good return by Pete Sampras. Maybe if there's any sort of critical area, you could say it's slightly high, but still a great volley by Rusedski. And then he follows it up with that brick.
Doesn't seem to get in as close to the net as Pete. Pete seems to be the quicker of the two and the more agile.
He's certainly quicker. There's no question about that. And I think that's a good point, Chrissy, because I think what he does is he tries to serve the ball so hard that he forgets just a little bit about getting to net.
Right, he's not sprinting once he serves. He's just sort of watching where the ball's going.
Watch Pete Sampras has blocked that back cross court. Enough on it for a winner. And look at that. Whoa! What a save by Rusedski. I was going to say, what a great return. And it was. Just too good there by Rusedski. All reaction. Nothing Pete could do, obviously. And there's a burst of adrenaline.
Rusedski has reached a dozen aces today, 89 for the championship. He had 36 against Deletra, his last match. But that low backhand volley was...
well, it's almost like what he lacks in his feet, he makes up for by his quick hands. Because he still wasn't in there very, very quickly at all. But, boy, great reflexes.
He probably would have gotten that volley in 2 times out of 10 normally.
Right.
So he picked the right moment. That's where sticking that elbow out too far gives him problems, I believe, on that passing shot. Actually, elbows should be close to your body when you hit that ball, not going out towards the ball. That's a tough thing to teach someone, though. I know my old coach, Tony Pavlux, was constantly harping me about that. I must say, it was a lot easier for me to do a shot like that because my strings were a lot looser. These are extremely tight strings that Pete Sampras plays with, so that is not an easy shot whatsoever for him because he's used to hitting the ball a lot harder. Talks about Pete Sampras, his speed is being underrated, so is his strength. Very strong out there, works very hard off the court in tip-top physical shape.
The anticipation at the net, too.
At love, Sampras, 3-2 on serve in the third. Welcome back to center court. Dick Enberg with Chris Everett and John McEnroe. And scores on the ladies' side in this fourth round. Mary Jo Fernandez defeats her friend, fellow American Lindsay Davenport, 7-6, 6-1, and we'll meet Steffi Graf tomorrow. Jana Novotná, the usual up-and-down performance for her, but she survives. Nicole Bradke of Australia, Brenda Schultz-McCarthy, easy win over Yuyuk Bazuki, Indonesia. That probably was the most contentious match today on the women's side. Sanchez Vicario and Anke Huber. Graf allows only one game to Cora.
That back's really bothering her.
Yeah. 30 love Rusedski. Conchita Martinez, the defending champion. No one's paying much attention to her. She just wins. She's in the quarters easily. And we're Kamstra, the unseeded player from the Netherlands. And Sabatini looked as if she was going to go out to Lisa Raymond. The 21-year-old American had her 5-3 down in that final set, but couldn't hold. And Kamiko Date, she's in the quarters along with her Shuzo Matsuoka. Boy, Tokyo, get out the sake tonight. Tonight's the night. Boy, and they're so proud of their sports champions, and Japanese television very much involved. You can imagine those instant heroism.
Well, they better do their celebrating tonight, because I'm not sure how successful it'll be against Sampras in the next round, assuming Pete wins this match. But nonetheless, a great result for Shuzo Matsuoka. I just like saying that name, so...
Well, get ready.
Get ready on Wednesday.
Men will have 2 days off before their quarters on Wednesday. 13th ace, 3-all in the third. You know, here we're talking about Bruno Rubio and Jeff Tarango and Greg Rusedski, biggest match of his life, and almost the third party in this whole drama is Pete Sampras.
You know that's just the way he likes it, though.
You bet, but I mean, he's played a marvelous match under all these conditions. He just has played his usual impeccable game.
Consummate pro.
Yeah, nothing phases him. He's pretty composed out there.
I said, Pete, we talked 6 months ago. I said, you got to show more emotion. He says, you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
The old 23-year-old dog, huh?
I just said, yeah, exactly. I said, you're not that old, are you?
15 love.
I mean, I just said, look a little happy shots you hit that no one else can do.
You know what, though? I mean, I love watching him play. I mean, he's a genius. And, you know, John, when you played, I mean, you're my favorite player to watch. And you could have kept your mouth shut.
Thank you very much.
Well, I mean, you could have kept your mouth shut the whole match, and I would have still thought you were the greatest player in the world to watch. I mean, you know, personality. I mean, I
someone quote, you know, capsule that quote, bottle it or whatever, because most people are, wait, you're nuts. If he doesn't get mad, it's boring.
Well, I mean, they could turn off the TV if it bugged them, but you're a genius, and so is he.
On a string, Pete Sampras dictating to Greg Rusedski.
That was an enjoyable point for Pete. Entertaining match all around so far. Good effort by Rusedski, but to no avail.
At love, Sampras holds 4-3 in the third. Up 2 sets over the new Brit Rusedski.
It's a spectacular event. Opening ceremonies for the 1995 Special Olympics World Games. See your favorite stars with host Bob Costas, a primetime special on NBC Wednesday.
The Championships, Wimbledon, brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Visa, it's everywhere you want to be. By IBM, solutions for a small planet. And by DuPont, better things for better living.
Rusedski 3-4.
$15. $13.
So this game's taken about, what, 20 seconds so far?
40 love.
I think he went for an ace on that second serve.
6 double faults.
Certainly the best time to go for it.
Rusedski.
Let's see the way Pete's been mixing up the serve. Not too much into the body. Confident enough that he can blow the ball by Rusedski. Half the time up the middle. Maybe a little bit more against the better players into the body. Only criticism you could possibly come up with. Same time, he hasn't lost his serve, so he's doing just fine. I'm not even sure that forehand was going to go in.
Lot 50.
He got a break there.
It's about the only way he can get a point off his serve.
That's pretty much it. Pete got down nicely for that forehand volley.
Show how important first serves have been for Pete Sampras. 47 first serve points. He's won 42 of them.
Get down nicely there. Good bend to the knees.
No! 30-15.
Now going to the ad court. Let's see how Sampras has served there. Well, again,
that's pretty much the same story. Very, very similar, as a matter of fact. Tony Schroeder used to be my captain in Davis Cup. Told me that was an underutilized serve, that serve into the body, and he's right. And you notice that even as great a server as Pete Sampras, not really going to the body much. He always encouraged me to go to the body, especially on the big points.
Especially against someone tall, because they can't get out of the way of their own feet.
So Sampras with a 5-4 on serve. Reminder, tonight at 11:35 Eastern and Pacific time. We hope you'll join us, NBC Sports. Special update, tennis premier event, Wimbledon. We'll bring you up to date on the highlights from all of today's matches and all the late breaking stories. And then tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific time, 5 hours of coverage from Wimbledon, the ladies quarterfinals. And one of our feature matches, Steffi Graf looking for her 6th Wimbledon title against Mary Jo Fernandez from Miami, Florida. So be with us tomorrow and every day and night throughout this week. We'll have coverage for you from Wimbledon leading up to breakfast at Wimbledon, 2 servings, 9 o'clock Saturday and Sunday morning. I want to clarify one thing. Yesterday I had some of my history incorrect. I should have consulted our historian, Mr. Bud Collins. 3 in a row the last 75 years, only Bjorn Borg, and he had 5 in a row, and Fred Perry, the great Brit in the mid-30s, won 3 in a row. That's how difficult the accomplishment is, and Sampras goes for that. And only 3 men, Borg, Perry, and Bill Tilden, have won a total of 3 Wimbledon titles, singles titles, since the 1920s. So what Sampras is after is really something special.
Hey, I won a total of 3 Wimbledon titles.
Oh, did I? Didn't I mention?
You were supposed to be partners here, Dick.
Yeah, McEnroe. I got there. It is right there.
I don't mean to beat my own horn there, but
that's the 4th. I've been searching for that.
I don't know about that shot.
It's great for exhibition.
It's great for exhibition. When you're down match game,
I know.
that's a little bit too ham-like, I'd say. Not a good decision here by Greg Rusedski. Although it did almost go in, but... Also, for all watching, a very dangerous shot. Got to hit that one very delicately.
Ooh.
That ball really skidded off the grass court surface. Sampras timing just a touch off, and that ball flew about 10 feet long.
I don't feel the players block the ball back like they used to. You know, they all have these big topspin shots and a lot of loop on their shots, and that's not really effective on grass. Or else you have to be super quick.
Remember Hugh and McMillan, the great old South African doubles team? They were dinkers, lobbers. You don't see that anymore in the men's game.
How's that net cord take the punishment?
Well, that net cord's a lot more forgiving than it is at the U.S. Open. You see Pete Sampras measuring his run there, so he could hit that ball just the way he'd like, and Rusedski unable to handle that one. Bit of a break there for Pete.
2 points from the match.
Always a good volley to hit, especially on this grass court surface or clay course, going behind your opponent. Picked a good time to do it there.
So Rusedski stretches Sampras to 5-all here in the 3rd.
5-game set.
One almost has to be reminded that these are 2 very young men. Sampras 23 with all his success, still a great future ahead, and Rusedski only 21. Well, for the Brits, let's start at the bottom. Fred Perry winning 3 in a row, 34, 35, and 36. And you've got to go all the way back to 1910-13. So it's just been one within the lifetime of anyone watching tennis today. Fred Perry's been it.
These are British champions, though. Why are we showing that graphic?
Well, this is a Can Brit, a Canadian Brit.
Let's see the Canadian champions since 1900.
You're not going to give
I don't think it'll be a short list, I have a feeling. Maybe we'll show up the Stanley Cup results or something.
Point from 6-5 for Sampras. Rusedski trying to get him at least into a tiebreak and hope that his big serve might win him the set.
John Sampras.
Rusedski 5-6 in the third. Down 2 sets to the defending champion Sampras.
When Rusedski hits a two-handed backhand volley, you know he's in trouble. A good defensive lob. Good effort to even get that ball back. Looked a little bit sluggish getting back for that ball. He should have tried to hit it overhand in any way possible, but now once again only 2 points from defeat. A good overhead by Pete Sampras.
Points for the two-time champion.
He doesn't want to play a tiebreaker. 43 tremendous points to get him to triple match point. Tremendous get by Pete Sampras. Rusedski did well to save that match point.
Well, the cruelest of final points, a double fault. But they stand in appreciation for the champion and the new tennis hero in England, Greg Rusedski. It was entertaining and at times electric tennis. But not a single break of the reigning champion, Pete Sampras. 6-4, 6-3, 7-5. On to the quarters goes Pete Sampras, and when we come back, three-time champion, another Boris Becker.